She's like a sickness in my brain, a vision standing by the window pane. She ripples through the blinds and leaves me in a daze. It's in the way her body moves me, the way she grabs me and intoxicates, until the signals in my mind forget to operate. Fragile skull, I take my pleasure from my alcohol. She'll never give you any time at all. She just comes and goes, you know, and she's got me living in a chemical love, and I try to find the strength to know she comes back to me again.
Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me for another coffee and crime video, and today we're going to discuss a case that I've been keeping my eyes on for a few weeks, hoping to see a much happier ending than I think we are seeing. This is the case of 21-year-old Leila Cavett, who disappeared from Georgia with her 2-year-old son Camden without telling anyone where she was going or why she was going there. 2 days later, her son Camden was found alone wandering around the parking lot of a Florida apartment complex, but Leila was nowhere to be found. And 2 days after that, the vehicle that Leila and her son had driven 700 miles from Georgia to Florida in was found 2 miles away from that apartment complex, but once again, Leila was nowhere to be found. There is a lot to unpack here in this case. There's a lot we're gonna go over, so grab your coffee, curl up somewhere comfortable, and let's dive in. But before we get started, I want to have a word from our sponsor, Surfshark VPN. Surfshark is a modern VPN designed with you in mind because it's so very simple and easy to use. And that's important, especially for someone like me who is very technologically challenged. And I find that I often miss out on using things that will help my life or my channel because I just don't have the time and patience to learn them. It takes me a long time to learn new things that are technology related. But the important question is here, why would someone want to use a VPN? We all have the right to some privacy in our lives, and that includes our internet usage. In March of 2019, the Senate voted to permit internet providers to sell their customers' browsing history without their permission or their knowledge. And when I say their customers, I mean us. We're their customers, right? Whether you have Verizon, Fios, or Spectrum, or what have you, we are the customers. This is not something that you would have been able to opt in or out of. And if you're using the internet, this is happening to you right now. Additionally, websites like Amazon and Facebook track your every move on and what feels like off of the internet. Have you ever said anything out loud in the vicinity of your smartphone and before you know it, you're getting ads for that very same thing you talked about? And every week we read news stories about this company or that company being hacked, compromising sensitive user data, which includes your financial information, such as credit cards and bank accounts. With Surfshark VPN, you can protect your privacy by hiding your real IP address using industry-leading encryption. This is especially important when you're on a public Wi-Fi network, like when you're sitting at Starbucks trying to get some work done because your entire house has become relentlessly noisy and chaotic for the past 6 months. On public Wi-Fi networks, all your information is visible to anyone who knows how to look for it, and more people than you think know exactly what to do and how to look for it. Surfshark also has a strict no logs policy, which means they don't monitor, track, or store what you do online at all, ever. But even if you're not concerned with privacy or the risk of being hacked and losing all the money in your bank account, even if you don't care that Facebook listens to you, talk to your husband and tell him that you're looking for a great new flannel shirt, and then all of a sudden Facebook's feeding you ads about flannel shirts and where you can buy them, there is still value in using Surfshark. Surfshark's No Borders mode allows you to access the internet of multiple different countries, so if you have run out of stuff to watch on Disney Plus and Netflix, using Surfshark VPN opens a whole new world of content and entertainment to you. Did you see what I did there? Disney Plus, a whole new world. Aladdin. Whatever your internet concern or desire is, Surfshark has the answer. Now you can browse the internet safely, keep your passwords and banking information private, keep your pictures and messages and emails and browsing data private as they were intended to be, and by default, you'll keep your peace of mind intact. If you are interested in protecting your privacy and freedom on the internet, click the link in the description box and get 83% off a 2-year plan with 3 extra months for free, or go to surfshark.deals/stephanieharlowe. This special offer makes your subscription just $2.21 a month so you can browse securely on all your devices. That's right, I said all of your devices. Something that makes Surfshark stand out from the rest is you can use it on all your devices for the same price. Your phone, your computer, your tablet, your husband's phone, his computer, his tablet. Unlimited devices keeps not only you safe, but your entire household and family as well. Thank you so much to Surfshark VPN for keeping me safe on the internet and for sponsoring this video. And as always, thanks to all of you out there who understand we need sponsors on this channel so I can continue bringing you content. Let's dive right in. I want to start by examining the missing persons poster that was released when Leila went missing. It says she's 21 years old, 5 foot 4 inches tall, 110 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. She was last seen on July 25th driving a late 90s white Chevy 3500 truck with a red tailgate. It says she fled from Dawsonville, Georgia with her son in the middle of the night to meet up with someone that she had connected with online in Florida. It's unknown what she was wearing at the time, but she does have 2 distinct tattoos. Her son's name, Camden, on her right arm and a Jesus fish symbol on her left wrist. The FBI has since joined in on the search, and there was a reward of $5,000 being offered for any information that could lead to her whereabouts. So it seems that Leila was originally from Jasper, Alabama, where most of her family still resides, but they did admit that she has a past history with drugs. And she kind of moved around a lot between states, between houses. She would crash on the couches of friends, and she would kind of stay wherever she could. At the time of her disappearance, she had been living with her uncle in Georgia after having a falling out with a friend that she'd been staying with. On July 17th, Leila FaceTimed with her sister, and during this conversation, Leila never mentioned future travel plans, and she also seemed to be acting completely normally. Now, on July 23rd, the day before she left Georgia, Leila called the father of her son, a man named Daniel Lee West. She told Daniel that she needed to bring Camden to the dentist, and she asked if he could send her some money, which he did. He wired $60, which Leila later recovered from a Dawsonville Walmart, I'd assume from a Western Union inside the store. This same day, Leila also borrowed $40 in cash from her uncle, and it seems as if she had begun posting online some of her personal items for sale, such as her vehicle and her Bose headphones. Now, we are able to follow Leila's path through the GPS on her phone, as well as surveillance footage along her route. Also, if you don't follow Profiling Evil on YouTube, you should. Because in my opinion, it is a highly underrated channel who deserves millions of subs. So go over there, show your love, and tell them I sent you. Now, they created a very thorough story map for this case, which I've included in the description box. And they cover these cases from a very unique perspective with respect and thoroughness that I really don't see with a lot of true crime channels these days. So Leila drove 700 miles, about 9 hours, with her son to Vero Beach, Florida, where she was caught on surveillance at a Cracker Barrel restaurant on the evening of July 24th. So she left Georgia early in the morning, or what they call the middle of the night, on the 24th, and was at that Cracker Barrel in Vero Beach, Florida, with her son by that evening. After this, she continued driving south, and she spotted again on surveillance the next afternoon at a racetrack gas station on Hollywood Boulevard in Hollywood, Florida. In this video, she is seen entering and exiting a light-colored Lexus sedan outside of the station at about 3 p.m. Later that night, Leila and Camden are seen at that same gas station, this time inside at about 10:20 p.m., and this is the last time that Leila will appear on any surveillance footage. On Sunday, July 26th, 2-year-old Camden was found wearing only a t-shirt, a soiled diaper, and no shoes. Ebony Williams, a resident at the Edge Apartments at 1860 Southwest 68th Ave in Miramar, Florida, saw the young child wandering around the parking lot alone. And this was at about 9 a.m., so she went out to talk to him. Later, she would tell reporters, quote, "I asked him where's his mommy, and he kind of just pointed everywhere," end quote. Ebony recruited the help of another resident, Lori Rodriguez, and together the two women changed Camden's diaper and cared for him while the authorities searched for his parents. Now keep in mind, Leila's family members were in Georgia and Alabama. There was no one that she really knew in Florida, no family members or friends that she had there, at least to anyone's knowledge. Leila's own family didn't even know she was missing at this point that Camden was found. The police knocked on doors trying to locate Camden's parents for 2 hours on Sunday morning, and obviously Camden isn't old enough to communicate with police in order to give them his age or his name or the name of his mother. The police tried to keep him calm and make him feel safe. They gave him toys to play with before turning him over to the Florida Department of Children and Families later that day. Now, in order to locate his family, detectives smartly turned to social media. Leila's sister, Gina Lewis, was sent a post featuring a picture of her nephew. And when she saw it, she said, quote, 100%, that is Camden. But the question is, why are they in Florida? We're in the middle of a pandemic, so it's not like they were taking a vacation out of the blue with a baby. There's no way. End quote. Once police had been notified that the lost child's mother was Leila Cavett and her family didn't believe there was any legitimate reason for them to be in Florida, stressing to the police that Leila was an attentive mother who would never abandon her child or leave him alone, law enforcement began actively searching for Leila. Now, we need to revisit the claims from Leila's family that she would have no reason to drive from Georgia to Florida, that she has no connection to anyone in Florida. Leila's mother, Tina Kirby, went on the Dr. Phil show and told him that Leila had mentioned to her uncle that she was planning to drive to Florida, but he hadn't taken her seriously. He figured, she was young, he knew she didn't have any money or a job through which she could earn money, so he kind of just brushed off her comments. 2 days after Camden was found, the truck Leila was driving was also found 2 miles away from that apartment complex. Law enforcement knew that there was no way 2-year-old Camden could have walked from that location where the truck was found all the way to the apartment complex where he was found. So they did begin to suspect foul play. It was highly unlikely that Leila would have dropped her son off in some random parking lot, driven her truck 2 miles away, and then just left it there. They assumed there was foul play at work, and someone else must have been involved, which brings us to the next person who is involved in this case. Shannon DeMar Ryan, a self-proclaimed witch doctor, was arrested on August 15th in connection with Leila's disappearance. Now, before he was arrested, and after he had been questioned by the police, he'd made a nearly hour-long video as well as a Facebook post in an effort, I guess, to convince people that he wasn't involved. The video was titled, "Who is Leila Cavett and what is my connection to her disappearance?" Now, I can't figure out if this Facebook message that he posted was posted before he put up this video or after, but the message says, quote, "Anyone who thinks I have something to do with Leila missing, can you please comment on this post? I want to demonstrate my powers and make all of you disappear off my timeline at once. Don't get scared now. This is your 5 minutes of fame. I won't delete your comments, which is honor. Instead, next full moon, I'm practicing my first mass hexing. Put your name in the pot since you so brave and big and bad, and I don't have any real powers. Make me out a lie. May Jesus, Constantine, receive your prayers and the blood of Christ, grape wine, protect you." See, they are just words. Anyone can say that shit. Ba rule. Okay, so I did some Googling wondering what that word he used at the end meant, ba rule. Apparently, this is the name of a fallen angel who is described as a good angel. He's the former prince of the orders and virtues of angels. In hell, he serves under Zaphiel as one of the 7 electors. As a good angel, he's the ruler of October, sometimes February as well. It also appears that there are connections to dark magic, ceremonies, occult practices, things like that. So the video he made is just an elaboration on all of this, and he gives his version of how things went down. He wants to know why he, the last person who saw Leila before she went missing, is getting all of this heat in her disappearance. I'm going to basically sum up what he says in this video because it's something like 53 minutes. I had to watch it twice, once to, take notes and see what he was actually saying, and then another time to screen record it. And I'm going to intersperse like clips into my kind of summation of what this video says, clips of him in this video. But I obviously cannot put the whole thing in. It's literally like an hour long. So I'm going to put the link to the video in the description box if you want to watch the whole thing. And I really do highly suggest that you watch the whole thing. So he says that these people who are connecting him to Leila are foolish and ignorant. He claims that he told the police everything that he knew and that he was actually the one who'd drawn attention to himself in the first place.
Today, I want to talk about Leila Cavett, or Cavett, who she is and what my connection is to her. You know, Leila's missing right now. And I just want to say this. Why is it the only connection that you made between me and Leila Cavett is the one that I posted? You know, I see some people show up on my post and say some real ignorant ass shit. Real ignorant ass shit. Yeah. Some of the same individuals that I've been helping for the last 5 or 6 years. Why is it you have a missing girl or a missing woman, and the last person that's seen her, which is me, who talked to the police, you ain't heard nothing about me? The police ain't flashed my name across the newspaper. They haven't put me on TV. They haven't put out a warrant for my arrest. Watch yourself. Watch yourself. Because you end up making yourself look even more foolish toward the end.
He says he feels he's being wrongly accused or profiled because of the color of his skin and his past criminal history, such as taking part in robberies, selling drugs, and doing time in prison.
People have begun to say, he's guilty. I'm guilty. Why am I guilty? And let me remind you, I put the information up there. You ain't heard shit about me. I posted it. He's guilty. Why? He has felonies. He did things in the past. Yeah, I did some burglary when I was younger, and I sold drugs when I was younger, and I went to prison too.
But according to him, these experiences with the law and being, in prison, they were necessary, and they are responsible for making him into the God that he is today. He is now changed, transformed, and renewed, and he's no longer that person.
See, that was the dirt that I grew up out of, that made me the God that I am today. So now, individuals love to try to hold you to a past frequency. You mean I can't change? I can't be transformed? I can't be renewed? Oh yeah, you can do all those things. Yeah, but then the minute something goes wrong, then you go back and say, this is who the fuck he is. Look at what he used to do. He's a criminal, so he had to have something to do with it. Thank you. Because I'm a black man, right? And I'm a criminal. And I was the last one to see the girl, so automatically, I got something to do with it. Thank you, America. Prove my point.
He says he's only being accused of these things by the public because he's a black man, a criminal, and because he was the last one to see the girl. He also says for the past 6 years, since getting out of prison, he has dedicated his time and energy into helping and healing people, and he seems very offended that some of these same people he has helped are now accusing him of basically being responsible for Leila's disappearance.
Never mind the time, the energy, and the effort that I've dedicated to helping people, healing people. How many of y'all have I talked to personally one-on-one, cried with you? Yeah, but now, you can't hold me to a past frequency. I am who I am standing in front of you.
He goes on to explain how he knows Leila, how he met her. He said a year prior he was living in Alabama with his apprentice, a person he calls Tiffany, and Tiffany's son Cadence in a 3-bedroom house. One night there was a thunderstorm or a tornado. He couldn't figure out which one.
Well, let me tell you about my connection to Leila Cavett. There's a thunderstorm, tornado, something going on because the weather's real bad.
And he was getting ready for bed when a knock came to his door at about 2 a.m. Tiffany answered the door and came back inside to tell Shannon that there was a girl out on the porch with a baby saying that her car had broken down, so Shannon goes outside to talk to this girl. He describes her as being dressed scantily and looking filthy.
Now here's this girl with these itty-bitty shorts on and this little bitty shirt on, and she's covered in dirt and filth, and she's wet, and she's pushing this buggy. And in this buggy is a whole bunch of junk, and it's dirty, and it's filthy, and it's wet, and there's a little baby in the buggy. And here they are, they're walking down a country-ass road in Muscle Shoals, Alabama, pushing a buggy in a thunderstorm, wet, dirty. And she tell me that her car broke down. Girl, you ain't just got out no car looking like that.
She asked him to use the phone, saying she had to get back to Jasper, and Tiffany and Shannon decided to let this girl spend the night and figure everything out in the morning. Now, obviously, this girl is Leila.
So we're gonna let her spend the night and we'll just figure this out in the morning because it's too late, you know? So, boom, I let her come in. I give her a spot in my living room. Boom, here you go. You and your son, y'all can go to sleep right here. Y'all need to take a bath, bring some more clothes out, whatever you need to do.
The next morning, Shannon claims Leila had a different story. She no longer had broken down her car. She claimed she'd been living with a girl in Tennessee, and they had traveled to Alabama together, and they stopped at a store on the way. And when Leila and Camden went inside the store, the girl took their stuff and put it on the sidewalk and then ghosted them. Shannon offered to drive her to her parents' house, but she said no. She didn't want to bring her son there because it was a toxic environment. She said her family was dysfunctional. She wanted to take her son there, and she also told him, according to him, that she had been molested by both her parents when she was younger. Now, once again, remember, this is Shannon's story. This is a man who's been arrested in connection with her disappearance at this point. And conveniently enough, the person who he's talking about is missing and isn't able to kind of refute or confirm these stories that he's saying. So just keep that in mind. So Shannon claims that even though he knew she was a liar, he believed her. And then he kind of went onto social media. He looked her up on Facebook and he found out she had a sister nearby. So he offered to take her to her sister. But Leila said, no, I don't want to go to my sister because the last time I went to my sister, she made me and my son sleep outside on the porch.
I said, Leila, your own sister, knowing you homeless, made you sleep on the porch with your 1-year-old son. That's what you want me to believe. And she was like, yeah, you know what? I believe it now. After seeing her action, I believe it. See, now, so Tiffany, that next day, took her around to all the homeless shelters.
So I guess Shannon was like, okay, we'll find another option. The next day, Tiffany took Leila around to all the homeless shelters in the area. And then when they came back, Tiffany told Shannon that the shelters had refused to take Leila. They said that she had been there before and she was known to be disruptive and cause trouble. So here he was with this woman and her 1-year-old child.
And they telling us, the woman told me personally, or told Tiffany personally, that if you deal with her, this is what you're going to deal with. Cool. You know, people say that they light workers. People say that they help us. People say that they heal us. But now here I am with a woman with a 1-year-old baby. Let's hear about this 1-year-old baby.
Shannon goes on to basically list all the ways that Leila was a negligent mother. He claimed that Camden had rotten teeth in his mouth at the age of 1, and that Leila would feed him cookies and Skittles for breakfast, even though Shannon offered her fresh fruit and vegetables and things like that. But she told him that Camden liked to eat candy for breakfast.
Baby's 1 year old and he already has rotten teeth in his mouth. And when she got up the next morning, she started feeding this baby cookies and candies and Skittles. Here's some breakfast. Here's some food. Here's some vegetables. Feed this to the child. Get this to the child. Oh, he don't want that. He won't can't. He likes to eat what I eat. This is the mentality that I'm dealing with.
She would also strap Camden into his car seat at the table without buckling him in. So I guess I shouldn't say she strapped him in. She would just kind of sit him in the car seat at the table as a makeshift high chair, I suppose. She wouldn't buckle him in, and that one day Camden fell out and hit his head. According to Shannon, the next day she put Camden in this same, car seat on a concrete porch, and this time Camden fell out again, but this time he hit his head on the concrete porch. Apparently, once again, according to Shannon, Leila didn't learn her lesson from this, so she put Camden back in the car seat, and this time he fell off the porch. And Shannon said he now understood why Leila had told him CPS was trying to take Camden away from her. So Shannon felt bad, and out of the goodness of his heart, he told Leila that he didn't want her to go back out in the streets, so he said he would let her stay, and he would train her in his magic arts so she could start her own business.
I said, you stay here. Let me teach you. I teach you tarot. I train you. I even help you start off your own business if you want. Whatever you want. But so you ain't got to be out here with you and your son pushing these streets trying to find out where you're going next. Leila decided to stay.
Shannon's story goes on, and he says that 2 weeks after that, a woman showed up asking where Leila was, and apparently this was the same girl who had left Leila and Camden at the store, but, Leila was going to go with her, but then she decided to stay because Shannon was like, oh, do you want to go back on this path, or do you want to come on this path where there's potential for your future, sort of thing.
I said, okay, Leila, you finna go with her? I mean, I don't want to be a burden. I said, Leila, listen. Woo! It's your choice. You can stay and we can continue to grow because you already see what I'm doing, or you can go with her. Leila decided to stay.
Shannon also claims that even though he told Leila it wasn't necessary that she contribute financially to the household, she decided to sell herself in order to make some money. He said she would just get into the car with these strange men and then leave.
So now Leila wants to help put in some money, and I told her that's unnecessary, but she's used to doing what she do, so she likes to go on dating sites and just meet guys.
And even though Shannon told her to leave Camden with him while she did her business, she said no because she claimed she used her son as a D shield, so she wouldn't have to have sex with these men. She would just scam them for their money.
With me. So I take my son everywhere I'm going. I said, yeah, Leila, but that dangerous that you get in the car with these guys that you just met online with your child. She's grown, and they ain't got no control over that.
She stayed there for 2 months until she made contact with some friends from Jasper, her hometown, and they came to pick her up one day, and she told Shannon that she was leaving with them and she'd be back in a few hours, and then Shannon went to sleep, and when he got up, she wasn't back, and not only that, but a bunch of his stuff was missing, as well as his cat, his pet cat, because every witch needs a familiar, you know what I mean?
But not only is Leila gone, a lot of my shit is gone. And she stole my cat. My cat disappeared. Mancoon, beautiful cat. Harlowe.
So Shannon says that Leila stole his cats, and then, when she came back, he let her kind of stay there for another couple of days before he asked her what happened to the cat, who I guess the whole 2 months she'd been living there, she was playing with the cat and sleeping with the cat and had gotten very attached to the cat, but then when she came back and the cat wasn't there, she never asked, where is the cat? So he thought that was an admission of her guilt.
And now for the 2 days that you've been back, you don't even notice he missing or don't even address the issue or ask, where is he? That's how I know you got my cat. And so now I address the issue with her. I confront her.
So he confronted her, accused her of stealing the cat. They argued, and he asked her to leave, but she cried.
Since we light workers, since we help people, well, here I am helping people. Here I am, I just took someone homeless off the street, her and her son, and I gave her a place to stay, and she just stole from me. So you know what? I'm gonna put her back out on the street.
So he let her stay, but he claims he didn't trust her after this. But he felt he could help her change, like he had changed. So he and Tiffany decided to manifest Leila a car so she could get out of there, which only took about 2 weeks. It was a very effective car manifestation.
But you know what? I got my own plans right now. So in my mind, I'm like, yeah, I gotta get her out of the house because she ain't gonna continue to take. See, I understand that she's a thief. I've been a thief. I understand that she steals. I steal, so I ain't gonna pass no judgment on her. I just want you to change like I changed. And I decided to manifest Leila a car. Yeah, let her up and get you away from him. And so now, I think it took like a week or two. It didn't take much longer. I don't think she stayed with me much longer after that. Maybe it was a month. And we manifested her a car.
She left again with this car that they brought into existence for her. But when she left, she stole bottles of oils, herbs, and healing stones. So Shannon texted Leila and was like, bring my stuff back. And she denied taking the stuff. So he told her he was going to put a hex on her until she returned his things.
I didn't take your stuff. I know what you're talking about. Leila, come on. Okay, so here it is. And I hexed her. Till you return all my shit. Till you return everything that you took. You're going to remain homeless. And everywhere that you go, people are going to try to take your son from you. That was my hex. Mm-hmm.
And according to Shannon, this hex would ensure that Leila would remain homeless, and everywhere she went, people were going to basically rob her. About 8 months later, they made contact again, and I guess they forgave each other. I don't know if she ever returned his stuff. I don't know if he ever took the hex off of her, but they forgave each other. She was still homeless, living with a man she had just met, and apparently Leila and Shannon picked up right where they'd left off in their education, and he claims that Leila was a natural witch who was very powerful, and all he was trying to do was just help her channel her powers and control them and kind of bring them out. He claims he'd normally charge $500 a month for this kind of service, and he's helped other people do this, and he would charge them for it. But he was doing it for Leila for free because he believed in her that much. So this goes on for a few months. They just kind of talk, message each other here and there. Everything's fine. And he now has another intern or apprentice named Christina, who apparently lived in Hollywood, Florida. Now, Christina had recently had a heart transplant, and when she'd gotten the organ transplant, her body had rejected the new heart. And on top of that, this woman unfortunately has cancer as well. So apparently she was in a bad place health-wise, and Shannon thought he could help her more than the doctors were and traditional medicine was. He felt that she had experienced so much trouble with the transplant because her heart chakra had not been consulted before the heart transplant.
I understood the nature of her problem. I understood some things that the medical doctors, with all their certificates that they got up on that motherfucking wall and all that medicine that they got in their goddamn cabinets, didn't understand. You replaced this woman's physical heart, but the master of the house wasn't consulted. The heart chakra wasn't consulted. Energetically, the heart chakra is rejecting that physical heart and throwing your body into chaos. And you need someone who has attained a certain level of mastery that can take part of his life force and put it into you and fix the problem energetically.
So her heart chakra was pushing back against the replacement heart, but he felt with his level of expertise, he could fix her problem by realigning her heart chakra.
So I came down to Hollywood, Florida, because one of my students was sick and having to go to the hospital 2 or 3 times a week. And I began to pour into her holistically and magically transform her life. Boom, boom. You need to do this. You need to eat this. Boom. Let's go out here to the beach. Let's go chill in the sun. Whole 9 yards.
So Shannon traveled to Hollywood, Florida because his student and his apprentice and his intern needed him, and he began to holistically and magically transform her life, but apparently he didn't work fast enough because she developed pneumonia and he had to rush her to the hospital, and they wouldn't let him stay with her in the hospital because of COVID, and he wasn't family and this and that. But so even though he didn't live in Hollywood, Florida, and he really didn't have a place to stay in Hollywood, Florida, he insisted to remain there while she was in the hospital getting better because he didn't want her to get out of the hospital and have no support system and have nobody. And that was when Leila contacted him again and told him she had traded in the Cavalier that apparently Shannon had summoned for her. She traded it in for a new truck. She sent him a picture of the truck, and apparently he said he wanted to buy it from her because he needed to go into the Florida Everglades to get some things for his magic practice, and he thought that a truck would be more effective for that than a car.
I said, you traded your car for a truck? She was like, yeah, it got a couple little problems with it, but yeah. So I like, Leila, show me the truck. And she showed me the truck, and I'm like, shit, Leila, I need a truck like that. I need a truck just like that because I'm getting ready to go down here to the Everglades and shit. I don't want to go down here in the car. I said, shit, let me buy that truck from you. I'm not selling my truck. I'm like, Leila, come on, send me the truck.
He claims that Leila was already supposed to come to Florida and help Shannon with his work while Christina was in the hospital, so they agreed that she would drive to Florida with the truck and she would sell it to him for $3,500, and then she would kind of stay with him to assist him with the alligators in the Everglades. Now, according to him, he says it took her 4 days to make an 8-hour trip. Which we kind of know isn't true because we know when she left and when she arrived in Florida. But he said she kept sending him messages saying like, oh, I'm only, 20 minutes away, or I'm pulling into, this town in Florida now, and I'll be there like later today. And she was kind of just like leading him on, I guess. So he thought she was trying to scam him and sort of waste his time, which he told the police and corroborated his story by showing them messages from her so they could see the inconsistencies in what she was telling him. So he claims he doesn't know what she was doing in Florida before she met up with him outside of that racetrack gas station, because it is his vehicle that we see her getting into on the surveillance camera of the gas station.
It took her 4 days to make an 8-hour trip. And I thought she was playing, and I thought she was hustling me, and I thought she was wasting my goddamn time. Same thing. I said, nope, because this is what she do. She lie, and she'll manipulate you, and she'll trick you. And I'm like, oh, damn, why this girl, I'm supposed to be going down here to Key West and in the Everglades, and you wasting my time, Layla. I'm finna go. I ain't got time for this. Oh, this is the messages that I showed the police department. 5 hours away. Then she go back, no, I'm 8 hours, I'm 6 hours away. No, I'm 2. I showed this to the police. I just want y'all to see the inconsistency of what she's telling me. But as I showed the police department, this is what time she showed up to me. And this is where we were standing. And this is where the camera was at when she got here. When she pulled up at Racetrack, which is right a couple lots over from Walmart, we pulled right over there to Walmart. Right over there, where her truck would park at. Yeah, let's talk about it.
So he claims she got out of her truck and into his car, and they went to a restaurant in Fort Lauderdale, where he then bought Leila and Camden a feast, so like a lot of food. They took that food to the beach to eat. They hung out there. They smoked weed. He says they were there for a few hours, and then they went to the Cheesecake Factory to eat again, I guess, even though they had just allegedly had a feast a few hours prior. Once they left the Cheesecake Factory, they went to Hollywood, Florida. They pulled up at a gas station, the same Racetrack gas station, and there was some guys in a car that Leila was talking to. Now, Shannon said they may have been the same guys she was talking to when they were at the beach in Fort Lauderdale, but he wasn't sure because that was just sort of Leila's personality. She was very friendly, very outgoing. It didn't matter if you were a stranger. She would just kind of approach you and talk to you like you were an old friend. Shannon also claimed that he believes she may have already met these guys prior to this because he didn't know, once again, how long she'd actually been in Florida or what she'd been doing or who she'd been with before she'd met up with him. He told the police to pull the cameras back up and they would be able to see her talking to these guys in their car, and apparently these guys were asking her if she liked to party, so in a protective, instinctual way, Shannon claims he got out of the car and walked up and was like, no, she doesn't like to party. But according to him, it didn't matter because Leila and Camden got into the car with these guys who she told Shannon she knew and that he shouldn't worry, and they left. Shannon claims he then left the Racetrack gas station and went to the Walmart parking lot, which was right next door. It's in the same shopping center. And then he went to sleep in his car thinking she would be back. But when he woke up the next morning, she had not come back. The next morning, he drove back to the Racetrack gas station because they had free Wi-Fi, and he, I guess, likes to sit in his car and work off of the Wi-Fi. And he says that this can all be proved that he was sitting in the parking lot all day except for when he left to go get some weed and then came back to the gas station to get high. Now, Shannon claims that he gave Leila $3,000 in cash for her truck, and then she never came back. So he thought she was just scamming him because he was supposed to give her an additional $500 after she helped him clean the truck, which I guess was a mess. So he claims he decided to just clean the truck himself and that, he was just going to kind of just take the truck, I guess. And when he was cleaning the truck, he discovered that there was no title to the truck in the glove box, and that's where I guess she had told him the title was. There was, however, a title for the Cavalier that she had claimed she'd traded in for the truck, so then he started to get worried, what if this truck is stolen? She clearly didn't trade in the Cavalier or she wouldn't still have this title, so what if I just bought a stolen truck from this girl?
I'm getting nervous now. I'm feeling played now. Oh, there's a title in the truck, though. A title to the Cavalier that she said she traded for it, and a tag to it. This girl that sold me a stolen truck is my greatest fear right now.
So he parked the truck in the Walmart parking lot, and he thinks after that he went back to Racetrack and then to the beach for the rest of the day because apparently this is kind of his, habit. This is his routine. The next day, after sleeping in the Racetrack parking lot, he went to Walmart before heading over to the Everglades in Key West. Now, he never actually gets to leave to go to the Everglades, so I get the impression that Shannon was going to take her truck to the Everglades, but when he got to the Walmart parking lot and saw her truck, he claims that the window was broken. So he went and got a garbage bag from his car to put over the window so that if it would rain while he was gone, and he was planning to be gone for a few weeks, the inside of the truck wouldn't get wet. And as you know, in Florida, or if you don't know, if you've never been to Florida, the rain can come out of nowhere. It's torrential sometimes. It just pours and pours and pours, and then it'll just stop out of nowhere like it was never there. So it's very likely that over the next 2 weeks while he was gone, it would have rained. So according to him, he put a garbage bag over the window to prevent the car or the truck from getting wet. Makes sense. So as he approaches the car to put this garbage bag over the window, he gets like swarmed by police, and they were asking him, whose truck is this? He said it was his. He just purchased it from Leila.
Yeah. As I get out my car and I'm walking over to the truck, I was like, police everywhere. They jumped out. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, free. Who are you? Do you? I'm like, man, I'm Bar-U-L. Y'all might can call me Shannon Ryan just so we don't get this identification confused, but I'm Bar-U-L. Who truck is this? It's my truck. I just bought it from Leila Cavett. What, is there a problem? Well, how do you know her? And we go through this whole shit that I just told y'all. Now, let me break this down. And I keep asking the officer, is something wrong? Is that truck stolen? Because see, that's my greatest fear. She was like, no, the truck's not stolen. I talked to like 4 officers. I ain't even going all that. I talked to like 4 officers right there in the parking lot of Walmart, and all 4 of them questioned me thoroughly.
He claims he was questioned thoroughly by 4 different police officers, including 2 women police officers. I'm not sure how that's relevant, but he seems really stuck on this woman police officer thing, because apparently the women police officers asked him different questions than the male police officers, and they wanted to know mainly if he believed Leila would ever abandon her son, which he answered no. They kind of wanted to know what kind of mother she was. Those were the kinds of questions that these female police officers were asking him, according to Shannon. He claims they did not ask him where Leila was. They didn't say she was missing. They didn't say that they'd found Camden, and he offered to let them search his car, but apparently they said no at that point. Now, he says a few times in this video, I was the last person to see her. I was the last person to see her. I was the last person to see her, which I find odd, since Shannon does claim she was talking to those guys in a car and that she left with them, which in my opinion would make those dudes in the car the last people to see her. And if that had actually happened, then if anybody was saying, you were the last person to see her, he'd say no. It was these guys in the car that were the last person or the last people to see her. Shannon claims he was extremely cooperative with the detectives. They asked him to send Leila a message, which basically said, Leila, you effed me again. I don't want this truck. You can have it. I'm leaving the keys under the seat. You can come and get the truck whenever you want. And apparently this was sort of like as a lure to bring Leila back to the truck, and then the police could, detain her and question her. Shannon claims at this point he still has no idea that Leila is missing and that Camden's been found already because he doesn't watch the news. So he already had offered for them to search his car, and they said no, but then all of a sudden they wanted to search his car, and they did, and I guess they didn't find anything according to him, and after that, they told him he could go. Now, he claims he was clear with them. He was like, are you sure that I can go? Because, I told you I don't live here in Florida. I told you I'm about to take a trip to the Everglades. I'll be gone for a couple weeks. I told you you're probably not going to be able to get a hold of me. Are you sure it's okay if I go? And they were like, yeah, absolutely. Like, you should go. So he starts going towards Key West and the Everglades, and he claims when he was about 20 minutes away, the police called him again and asked him to come back to the Walmart parking lot. But he said, I can't come back right now, but I'll meet you there the next morning. He claims that he never went back to meet these police officers because after he was on the phone with them, he talked to Christina from the hospital, who told him about Leila being missing. She also told him that the police had been there to speak to her, and they weren't asking questions about Leila or Camden. They were asking questions about Shannon. So he felt that he was being tricked by the police to come back to the parking lot so they could pin everything on him and frame him for everything.
I got a problem with how this female officer just tried to trick me to come back to Walmart parking lot so y'all can question me and probably detain me and arrest me. And I ain't trying to go to jail during Corona, and I'm a black man. You know what else I don't like? I don't like how Milmar Police Department had an illegal stakeout in Hollywood, detained me, searched me, then let me go, but took the keys from the truck from me, put the keys up under the seat, then have me send a text message that looked like I was angry about something, and then want me to come back to the scene after you to put the keys up under the seat to have Hollywood Police Department. That's why I gave him the keys to the truck with my fingerprints on it. That's why I sent the message right there, timestamp that picture, because I sent that message right there, standing right there with the police department too. In this era of I can't breathe. Y'all say, oh no, you should just go down there. Yeah, a black man that got over 15 fucking felonies. Got over 15 fucking felonies. A missing girl, and the black man said he the last person that talked to her. I just felt like they just tried to wrap this case up too quick and like, yeah, he had something to do with it and just lock him up when I've been nothing but cooperatives from the fucking beginning.
So that video, I summed it up for the most part. It goes on like that for about another 10 minutes or so. Like I said, I've included a link to the full video in the description box if you want to watch it. I think you should. Especially if you're somebody that kind of likes to hear it from, the horse's mouth, if you're somebody who likes to kind of analyze body language or kind of see if there's parts where he kind of contradicts himself, it's there in the description box. And now we're going to turn to the arrest paperwork for some real answers. And I really would like to say, before we move on from Shannon's video, as an unbiased person, which I was when I first watched that video, watching the video before he got arrested, he seems convincing. He seems well-spoken, confident in his words. He has this whole backstory, right, which illustrates for us Leila's personality, or at least what he wants you to think is her personality. She's kind of a drifter. She never stays in one place for too long. She's dishonest. She steals. She lies. She may not be the best mother. Even though she loves her son, she may not be the best mother, and she takes advantage of people who try to help her. So when he tells us what happened when she met with him in Florida, his original background to the story makes sense, and it makes people who may not think he's guilty or, who were watching it before he got arrested, it might make people say, well, this does make sense. She's done this before. She's come into his life. She's, been like a whirlwind and stolen from him and lied to him. And now she's just doing it again. And I really do think that's why he went so far back and told us everything that allegedly happened since the day he met Leila Cavett. So the arrest affidavit states that Shannon knowingly and willfully kidnapped, seized, confined, abducted, and carried away Leila with the intent to collect a ransom, reward, or other benefit, and that he held the victim for that reason and used a facility or an instrumentality of interstate or foreign commerce in committing or furtherance of the offense. In Section 5 of the document, it states that Shannon claimed he, Leila, and her son went to the racetrack gas station to get gas, and when they were parked at the pumps at about 2:30 a.m. on July 26th, Leila and her child left in a dark-colored sedan with several unknown black males. Now, law enforcement reviewed the footage from the gas station, and the surveillance did not show Shannon's Lexus parked at the pumps at this time on this date, nor did it show Leila and Camden leaving with these men. And I want to say that it's a little ironic that in his video, he's multiple times brought up the fact that he feels he's being profiled and sort of treated unfairly because he's black. But then he fabricates, allegedly, this truck or car of black men who took Leila and Camden away, which kind of makes it look as if he's trying to pin it on these guys. Like, those were the last people that saw her. That's who she left with. I told her it was dangerous to get in the car with men she didn't know, but she said it was fine. So it's a little hypocritical on his part to feel that he's being unfairly profiled because he's black, but then to make up these perpetrators or these offenders, and then he makes them to be black. So this surveillance camera from the gas station doesn't show Shannon there. It doesn't show Leila leaving with any men in any car. During further investigation, law enforcement obtained surveillance footage from the area where Camden had been found, and they discovered a gold Lexus directly in front of the apartment complex just minutes before the 2-year-old was found wandering around this parking lot alone. Now, law enforcement obviously believes that this was Shannon's vehicle because his car is a gold Lexus. And it's also distinguishable because it's missing a front bumper, and so was the car seen on surveillance. Additionally, surveillance video from the racetrack, that's the gas station, it showed Shannon's car leave the station at 8:15 that morning and return at 8:38, which is consistent with the time frame of which Camden was abandoned in the parking lots. The racetrack gas station is just under 3 miles away from where Camden was found, so Shannon would have had time to bring him to that parking lot, leave him, and then drive back to the racetrack. Law enforcement also reviewed cell phone data from Shannon's phone, and it showed that his Sprint phone pinged off a tower in the area where Camden was left at the same time he was left there. They were also able to track down purchases Shannon made with a debit card that did not belong to him. It was somebody else's debit card, but they can see him on surveillance using the debit card. And he made purchases from two separate places, the Walmart and the racetrack, which once again are located in the same plaza. At approximately 9:42 a.m., video surveillance and store receipts show Shannon purchasing extra strong 39-gallon extra large drawstring bags and 2 boxes of extra strength carpet odor eliminator. 15 minutes after this, Shannon walked back into the Walmart and purchased a roll of advanced strength duct tape. Now remember that Shannon had claimed that he tried to put a garbage bag on the window of Leila's truck because the window was broken. But law enforcement confirmed that all of the windows on the truck were intact when Leila had originally arrived at the gas station. But when the forensics team examined the truck later, when it was parked at Walmart, they were able to verify that the driver's side window was broken and the driver's side visor was bent out of its normal position. Law enforcement was also able to recover shovels in the truck with small droplets of red substance on them. A friend of Shannon's was interviewed, and this person told police that Shannon had attempted to sell him a white truck on July 26th for $1,000. On August 15th, a search warrant was executed on Shannon's vehicle, his Lexus, during which a half-empty container of all-purpose bleach cleaner was found, along with numerous black trash bags, and a white powdery substance was found under the front passenger seat, which I would assume is that carpet cleaner, the odor-eliminating carpet powder. An employee of the racetrack gas station told police that they had seen Shannon using the station's dumpster, and another employee remembered seeing child's toys and women's clothes in that same dumpster. And this happened on July 26th, and the employee remembered seeing this stuff because she remembered seeing these floral pants that were, very distinguishable. And she remembered that in the pictures the cops had showed her when they were looking for Leila Cavett had been wearing those same floral pants. Surveillance footage corroborated this, showing Shannon parking his Lexus in front of the dumpster on July 26th. A search warrant was also executed for the iPhone Shannon was using, which he had in his possession. Several Google searches had been done from that phone on July 26th, including one at 12:01 a.m., which asked, quote, "What day does commercial garbage pick up from Hollywood, Florida?" End quote. And at 1:45 a.m., another search was done for, quote, "Does bleach and alcohol make chloroform?" End quote. So on Shannon's Facebook page, which can be found under the name Magnetic Kundalini, it appears that he actually has quite the following. On August 15th, the day of his arrest, he posted that he would drop a pin for anyone who wanted to meet up and discuss or resolve an issue they might have. He says, quote, "Make me out a lie and see if I pop up in your message with a ping. This the one which you can't bully, you muggles. What's wrong? Have the nightmares started?" Of course they have. That's why some of you muggles done went quiet. Keep playing. I got plenty of live chickens to pick from. Whose name is next? I got some energy I want to send you. All I need is your Facebook account name. Freddy Cougar ain't got shit on me. I will haunt your dreams and daydreams, bitch, keep playing, end quote. I don't know if he meant Freddy Krueger, but he spelled it Cougar, Cougar, like the animal, like rawr. So I don't know if he maybe meant to type Cougar, or if he didn't know how to spell Krueger, or if it autocorrected to Cougar. A couple of minutes before that, he posted it again, and he asked if anyone who knows how to astral project wanted to meet up at 3 a.m., I assume in astral form. So he wanted to know if they wanted to astral project and meet up at 3 a.m. and go out for a date towards the inner planes of existence. Now, the significance of 3 a.m., it's very widely differing, but I would assume for him, the significance of 3 a.m. is that it's considered to be the devil's hour. There's a misconception that midnight is the witching hour, but in occult circles, it's really 3 a.m. According to the myths of ages, the devil's hour is very real. And when you wake up at 3 a.m. with a fretful stirring in your soul, it's because an evil as old as the hills is deliberately taunting you and mocking the death of Jesus Christ, who, according to ancient manuscripts, died in the middle of the afternoon at 3 p.m. Yahoo News reports that just like turning the cross upside down, the 3 a.m. thing is an inversion of that. And an inversion is considered to be a time-honored tool used by demons to plague and torment humans with. It's believed by some that the veil between our world and the one beyond the grave is lifted at 3 a.m., and in a state of slumber, our minds are susceptible to paranormal activity. Damn. Is it Halloween yet? Right? So, legend has it, if you awake suddenly at exactly 3 a.m. for no reason, it is because the devil himself has paid you a visit in your dreams. And I mean, this stuff is obviously creepy. And this man, Shannon, I think he might actually believe in these things. And personally, I consider myself open-minded about these sorts of beliefs. But my main problem is Shannon seems to be using these powers that he believes he has to hurt other people who share a different opinion from him. He's clearly threatening people, talking about performing a mass hex on his Facebook followers who think he might have had something to do with what happened to Leila, talking about all the live chickens that he has access to. I don't know how, considering that he was living out of his car in Florida. Where are these live chickens coming from? Were they in the Everglades? Where are you getting the live chickens from? But I mean, as we know, live chickens are often used as like sacrifices in certain ceremonies and practices. He even refers to these people as muggles, which he clearly stole from Harry Potter. So I'm not sure if he's using the term ironically to like be funny or if he's using it seriously. It's tough to tell. But the real question is, where is Leila? Shannon's being charged with kidnapping, not murder, and she has yet to be found. According to the FBI, the investigators retrieved conversations between Leila and Shannon where Leila did say that she was going to Florida to, become his apprentice and help him out, but there was no mention ever of her agreeing to sell him her truck. Authorities are now seeking out the driver of a gold 4-door Honda sedan, which was parked near the gas pumps at the racetrack in Hollywood, Florida, because it's believed that whoever was in this car might have seen something related to her disappearance. It was parked there between 11:24 and 11:28 p.m. on July 27th. It has visible damage to the rear bumper. If you were in this vehicle or you know who was, you should call FBI Miami at 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to fbi.gov/tips. Now, obviously, just like Dr. T. Stout says, Shannon is innocent until proven guilty, and without a body, there's no proof that Leila is no longer with us. But it really doesn't look good. Leila's father believes that Shannon knows a lot more than he's telling, and Leila's father doesn't believe that she was ever actually involved in witchcraft, which does seem a little contradictory since there are messages where she's agreeing to go to Florida to be Shannon's apprentice, but this may have just been a new thing for her. She was sort of experimenting. I don't know. To me, what's significant about Shannon's video that he posted on Facebook is the amount of times he mentions the Everglades. So if we're going to operate on the assumption that Shannon did something to Leila, which ended her life, allegedly, I think the Everglades is the first place that law enforcement should start looking for her. The Everglades is the largest subtropical wilderness in the U.S. There's a lot of swampy areas, a lot of gators swimming around in there. It's just this, vast wetland. In fact, and this is a fun fact, not just an in fact, the Everglades are the only place in the world where both alligators and crocodiles live. Because of these factors, the Everglades is an ideal place to hide things, typically bodies. Hundreds of corpses have been found, especially around the road known as Alligator Alley, which has become a popular dumping ground. Between the animals there who will feast on a body and the remoteness of the area, it would be very difficult to locate a missing person if that's where they ended up. And the fact that he mentions it so many times, it's almost like he's either subconsciously telling on himself or he knows that even if they look there, they'll never find her, and he's playing games with law enforcement and with us. The Everglades is not a place to mess around with, guys. It's very crazy. There's a lot of crazy stuff that's happened there. If you look at, the Brittany Drexel case, and Brittany Drexel was from my hometown. So I've followed the case for years. In fact, it was one of the first true crime cases that I actually became very invested in because of the proximity of Brittany, to me and my town. That is apparently what they think happened to her, is that these men who kidnapped her, they abused her, and then they fed her to like alligators or crocodiles in the swamp, because this was South Carolina, so there's a lot of like wetlands and swamps and things there too. So I don't think that Leila is alive any longer. I don't know how much the police know that they haven't told us, but I think it's quite a bit, especially if they're making the determination that he held her and kidnapped her in return for some sort of ransom. They must know something, or they must have found something that suggested he was doing this in order to financially benefit off of her being gone. I do have to say that I'm glad he didn't hurt the baby. I'm glad that, or he or whoever did this to Leila, once again, innocent until proven guilty, right? Allegedly. Don't put a hex on me, Shannon. Whoever did this to Leila, I'm very, very glad that they dropped Camden off in a parking lot first even though that's not really safe for a child, because what if nobody had seen him and he'd wandered into the road and gotten hit or something? Like, there's just too much to think about with this. It makes my head hurt, but I'm very glad that Camden is okay. There does seem to be some sort of custody battle maybe going on. The father who says he's the biological father is not the father listed on the birth certificate, but he is kind of standing with Leila's family, and he says he's going to take a DNA test, and he wants Camden, and he wants to take custody of Camden. The family also wants to take custody of Camden. Right now, Camden is in the care of a foster family until they can straighten things out. And I guess it's a lot more complicated because there's multiple states involved, multiple law enforcement agencies, so it's going to take a little bit longer to figure things out. But the important thing is, and I think the important thing that would be the most important thing to Leila, is that her son Camden is safe. And hopefully we find out soon what happened to her. So that's going to be it for this video. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. Don't forget to click on the link and check out Surfshark VPN, our sponsor of this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe if you're not subscribed. I know a lot of you watch and you're not subscribed yet. What are you waiting for? Go ahead and join our community, and follow me on Instagram and Twitter if you want to know certain cases and things that I'm looking into on a daily basis. Thank you so much to my patrons. Thank you so much to my sponsors. And thank you so much to everybody out there who keeps coming back and watching my videos. I appreciate and love you guys so much. Stay kind and stay beautiful, and I'll see you very soon.
Straight down, and that river runs deep, the mountains get steep, and the voices getting too loud. All these feelings I've buried, it's looking like a cemetery. They're coming back from the grave, calling out my name, better say a Hail Mary. Well, you don't know how deep it goes until it's killing you slowly. That's all you got.